In the United States, public streets, sidewalks, and parks are shared environments where individuals enjoy broad freedoms of movement and expression. At the same time, these spaces are governed by laws that protect personal autonomy and safety. Encounters with strangers who initiate unwanted conversations, follow persistently, or escalate their behavior can create discomfort or genuine fear. Knowing your legal rights, effective response strategies, and the boundaries of lawful self-defense allows you to protect your personal space confidently while minimizing legal risks and unnecessary confrontation. Although specific statutes vary by state and locality, core principles remain consistent nationwide. Every individual has the fundamental right to be left alone in public. There is no legal obligation to respond to, engage with, or acknowledge a stranger who approaches you, whether the interaction begins politely or feels intrusive from the start. You may simply continue walking, avoid eye contact, or issue a clear verbal boundary such as, "I do not want to talk. Please leave me alone. Stop talking to me," or, "Do not come closer. Do not follow me." These statements should be delivered firmly and, when appropriate, loudly enough to alert potential witnesses or be captured on a recording device. Repeating them as needed reinforces that any continued contact is unwanted and helps establish a clear record for law enforcement or future proceedings. Once you have expressed your refusal, walking away briskly, or changing direction to head toward populated areas, stores, well-lit zones, or places of business, represents a prudent first step. You retain full freedom to move as you wish in pursuit of safety. When unwanted communication or following persists after a clear refusal, the behavior can rise to the level of harassment or stalking under laws in most states. These statutes typically prohibit a course of conduct involving repeated following, contacting, or communicating that is intended to or does seriously alarm, annoy, threaten, or intimidate the victim without legitimate purpose. Even a relatively brief sequence of events can satisfy this threshold in many jurisdictions. Victims should prioritize personal safety by moving toward help while documenting the incident whenever possible. Video or audio recordings, phone calls to 911, and detailed notes, including time, location, description of the individual, and what was said, create valuable evidence. Reporting promptly to law enforcement can result in warnings, intervention, arrests, or civil remedies such as protection orders. Public harassment is not something citizens must endure indefinitely. The legal system provides avenues for relief precisely to prevent escalation. Self-defense laws across the United States generally follow a reasonableness standard. Individuals may use reasonable force, including non-deadly tools like pepper spray, when they reasonably believe such force is immediately necessary to protect themselves against another person's unlawful force or imminent threat of harm. Pepper spray is legal for purchase and carry by most adults in the vast majority of states, subject to age, criminal history, and size restrictions that vary locally, and it is widely recognized as an appropriate non-deadly option when used proportionately. Many states impose a duty to retreat in public places before using force if retreat can be accomplished safely, though stand your ground doctrines in other jurisdictions remove this requirement when the defender is lawfully present. No duty to retreat typically applies inside one's home or, in some states, place of work or vehicle. The key considerations remain the same nationwide: proportionality, imminence of threat, and overall reasonableness judged by what an ordinary person would perceive under the same circumstances. Verbal aggression alone, yelling, insults, or persistent talking, rarely justifies physical force by itself, as words without accompanying threat of imminent harm do not typically constitute unlawful force. However, the situation changes when actions demonstrate a credible risk. Physically blocking a path, aggressively closing distance despite repeated commands, or issuing threats while advancing can create reasonable fear of assault. Any unwanted physical contact, such as grabbing, pushing, or holding, generally qualifies as battery and opens the door to proportionate defensive measures. Spitting presents a particularly clear escalation. Saliva landing on another person's body, face, or clothing constitutes offensive physical contact and battery in virtually every jurisdiction, as it involves unwanted bodily fluid transfer that may transmit disease or cause significant distress. This remains true even if individual droplets are difficult to capture visibly on video. Aggressive yelling directly into someone's face with visible spit projection, especially after clear refusals and following, often meets the standard for imminent unlawful force. In such moments, a loud verbal command such as, "Stop spitting on me," "Leave me alone," followed by the use of pepper spray to create distance represents a measured and often legally defensible response. Courts and law enforcement evaluate the full context, including proximity, aggression level, ignored warnings, time of day, location, relative sizes, and the defender's efforts to de-escalate, rather than requiring microscopic proof of every droplet. Documentation strengthens any claim of lawful behavior. Recordings that capture repeated refusals, continued pursuit, aggressive approach, and contemporaneous statements provide contemporaneous evidence that supports both self-defense justifications and harassment complaints. Even without perfect visual proof of spit, the overall pattern of behavior frequently suffices to demonstrate reasonable fear. After any incident, preserve all footage unedited, note witnesses, contact law enforcement promptly, and consider medical evaluation if bodily fluids are involved or injury occurs. These steps create a robust record that protects against false accusations and aids prosecution where warranted. Practical preparation enhances both safety and legal protection. Carrying a reliable recording device, such as a smartphone with quick access video, a personal alarm, or legal pepper spray can deter or resolve many encounters. Cultivating situational awareness, staying alert to surroundings, avoiding isolated areas when possible, and knowing local non-emergency police numbers, reduces vulnerability. Self-defense training programs that emphasize verbal de-escalation, legal thresholds, and realistic scenario practice help individuals recognize the precise moment when retreat is no longer viable and defensive action becomes necessary. Many such programs also cover state-specific nuances regarding pepper spray and use of force standards. Public spaces in America are intended to be open and safe for all. By asserting clear boundaries early, prioritizing de-escalation and distance, documenting interactions, and involving authorities when harassment persists, individuals exercise their rights while reducing the likelihood of violence. When threats become physical, through touching, blocking, spitting, or credible imminent harm, U.S. law supports reasonable, proportionate responses aimed at restoring personal security. Awareness of these principles promotes confidence, personal responsibility, and respectful coexistence in shared environments. For guidance tailored to a specific state or locality, consulting local law enforcement agencies or qualified legal professionals ensures alignment with the most current rules and best practices. Staying informed and prepared remains the most effective strategy for navigating public life safely.